Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Caitlyn Clark has done it again. Another historic night, another triple-double, and another reminder of why she continues to dominate the conversation around the WNBA. Before we get into everything that happened, let me know in the comments. Do you think Caitlyn Clark deserves to be the MVP? I really want to hear what you guys think because this debate keeps getting bigger every single game. Also, don't forget to leave a like on the video. Let's see if we can smash 1,000 likes. Every single like helps the channel grow, and if we hit that goal, maybe we'll celebrate this triple-double the right way. Now, let's talk about the performance, because this wasn't just another good game. This was another statement game from Caitlyn Clark. She finished with 26 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, 4 turnovers, and a plus 23 rating in a comfortable Indiana Fever victory. That's her 4th career triple-double, continuing to climb the all-time WNBA leaderboard. Every time she steps on the floor, she's making history. And honestly, from the opening tip, she looked like the best player on the court. There wasn't really a debate. She controlled the tempo, she controlled the offense, and every big possession seemed to run through her. Yet somehow there are still people who will try to tell you somebody else was the biggest reason the Fever won. Now, don't get me wrong. Kelsey Mitchell came through with some absolutely clutch free throws late in the game. Credit where credit is due. Those were huge moments, and she knocked them down under pressure. But outside of that stretch, I didn't think this was one of her stronger games. She contributed when it mattered, but Caitlyn Clark was the engine that made everything work from start to finish. Before diving deeper into the Fever, let's give some credit to Portland, because they didn't just roll over. The Fire came out firing in the first quarter. Bridget Carleton was making some ridiculous shots. She was knocking down sidestep fadeaway three-pointers that were heavily contested. Sometimes as a defender, you simply have to tip your cap because there isn't much you can do when shots like that are falling. Emily Engstler also deserves recognition for the defensive effort she brought throughout the night. She was active, physical, and made life difficult in several possessions. Then there's Carla Late. Listen, I don't care what the stat sheet says. Carla Late is one of those players that immediately grabs your attention every time she touches the basketball. She finished with 20 points and 12 assists. Yes, she also committed 7 turnovers, but if you actually watched the game instead of only looking at the box score, you know exactly how dangerous she was. Every single time Caitlyn Clark ended up switched on to Carla Late, I found myself thinking, oh dear God, not this matchup. I'm serious. I'm not saying Carla Late is the best player in the WNBA because she's not, but she might be one of the toughest individual matchups to defend because of how creative she is with the ball. Her change of pace, her passing vision, and her willingness to attack make her incredibly dangerous. Every possession she has the basketball feels like something could happen. Portland showed exactly why they're capable of hanging around. They exploded offensively in the opening quarter and refused to quit in the fourth. Even after falling behind by nearly 20 points, they continued fighting. They kept making shots, forced turnovers, and slowly chipped away until the lead was cut close to double digits. That's the sign of a competitive basketball team. But every single time Portland made a run, Caitlyn Clark seemed to have an answer. What impressed me the most wasn't even the final stat line. It was the first half. Honestly, I think that was the best first half of Caitlyn Clark's WNBA career. I'm not exaggerating. She completely controlled every aspect of the game. Her shooting was effortless, her passing was on another level, she was reading every defensive coverage before it even developed. She looked completely comfortable no matter what Portland tried to throw at her. Watching that first half, I kept thinking to myself that this is exactly what the best player in the world looks like. Over these last several games, she's been playing at another level. Everything seems to be slowing down for her. She's making difficult plays look routine, she's creating open shots for teammates, she's scoring from deep, she's finishing inside, she's getting to the free throw line. She's simply controlling games. The third quarter wasn't nearly as aggressive offensively. She only scored 5 points during that stretch and finished with 8 points in the entire second half. But that wasn't because she disappeared. It's because she shifted into facilitator mode. She trusted her teammates, she was reading the defense, and she was creating opportunities instead of forcing difficult shots. Now, let's address something that I already know people are going to complain about: the triple-double. There are going to be people saying she was stat padding. There are going to be people saying she was hunting assists once she secured that 10th rebound. Honestly, she absolutely looked like she wanted that triple-double. And you know what? I don't care. Triple-doubles are incredibly rare in the WNBA. If a player is one assist away from making history and starts looking for teammates instead of forcing shots, that's not something I'm going to criticize. We've seen players throughout basketball history chase milestones. We've seen players chase rebounds. We've seen players chase assists. We've seen players chase scoring titles. That's part of sports. The important thing is that Indiana was still trying to win the basketball game, and they did exactly that. Another thing that people are going to bring up is the free throw total. If you're one of those people complaining about Caitlyn Clark getting to the line, I'm honestly convinced you didn't watch the game. She earned every single trip. Portland defended her physically from the opening possession until the final buzzer. She was getting bumped on drives, grabbed off the ball, and hit on jump shots. There was even a three-point attempt where she got shoved without receiving a whistle. Throughout the night, defenders were constantly trapping her, doubling her, and sometimes even sending a third defender her way. Their game plan was obvious: make someone else beat you. The physical defense resulted in plenty of contact, and that's exactly why she finished with so many free throw attempts. Those weren't charity calls. Those were earned possessions after absorbing contact all night long. That's what superstars deal with, and Caitlyn Clark handled it better than anyone on the floor. Now, even with all the attention focused on Caitlyn Clark, there were several other Indiana Fever players who stepped up throughout this game and made winning plays. That's what makes this team so dangerous right now. It isn't just one player carrying the load every single night. Yes, Caitlyn Clark is the engine, but the supporting cast has started playing some of the best basketball we've seen all season. Let's start with Monique Billings. I thought Monique Billings had one of the most underrated stretches of the entire game. There was about a 2-minute sequence where she completely changed the momentum. She scored 10 quick points, finished strong around the basket, and gave Indiana exactly what they needed when Portland was trying to claw back into the game. When Monique Billings catches the basketball cleanly and attacks immediately, she's extremely effective. She knows how to finish around the rim, she runs the floor well, and she brings energy every time she checks into the game. Those are the kinds of role players championship teams need. Now let's talk about Lexi Hall. I hate saying this because everyone knows how hard she plays, but this wasn't one of her better nights. She struggled to make a consistent impact, and when you look at the plus-minus, being -5 in a game your team wins comfortably is never ideal. That doesn't erase everything Lexi Hall has done this season. She's still an important defender and hustle player, but this particular game simply wasn't one of her strongest performances. Every player has off nights, and she'll have opportunities to bounce back. On the other hand, Sophie Cunningham continues to embrace the role that makes her so valuable. She brings toughness, she brings motion, she brings confidence. And somehow, every time opposing fans or opposing players seem to get under her skin, she responds by playing even better. She's becoming one of those players that feeds off the energy around her. Whether people love her or hate her, Sophie Cunningham never backs away from the moment. She keeps competing, keeps talking, and keeps making winning plays. One of the more surprising moments of the night actually involved Sophie Cunningham. When Portland fans started booing her, a lot of people were caught off guard. It wasn't something everyone expected to hear, and it immediately became one of the talking points coming out of the game. Whether fans agreed with the reaction or not, it definitely added another layer of intensity to an already entertaining matchup. Now I have to spend some time talking about Makayla Timpson. I'll be completely honest. Earlier this year, I wasn't convinced she was going to become a long-term WNBA player. I watched her play in Prague, and I wasn't impressed. I didn't think she looked comfortable. I questioned whether her game would translate consistently. And today, I'll gladly admit I was wrong. Very wrong. Makayla Timpson has made tremendous progress. She's finishing around the basket with confidence. She's protecting the rim. She's getting into passing lanes. She's making hustle plays that don't always appear in the box score. Her timing defensively has improved, and she's clearly becoming more comfortable within Indiana's system. Is she a finished product? Absolutely not. Her overall feel for the game still has room to grow. There are moments where you can tell she's still processing the speed of professional basketball, but the improvement is obvious. Sometimes basketball IQ develops through experience. Sometimes instincts improve simply by playing meaningful minutes. And every single game, Makayla Timpson looks more confident than she did the week before. That's exactly what you want from a young player. Now let's give Kelsey Mitchell the credit she deserves. Congratulations on being named Player of the Month. That's a tremendous accomplishment, and it's well-deserved. Some fans are going to argue that Caitlyn Clark should have won the award, but context matters. Clark missed games because of injury earlier in the month and then returned with a relatively quiet performance against Los Angeles before finding her rhythm again. Meanwhile, Kelsey Mitchell consistently produced throughout the month. Recognition like Player of the Month is earned over an entire stretch of games, and congratulations to her for receiving that honor. Now let's talk about the Indiana Fever as a team, because this is becoming impossible to ignore. They're 9-2 over their last 11 games. Think about that. 9 wins in 11 games. Yet every time they win, somebody immediately says they're only beating teams below .50. Okay, if it's so easy, why isn't everybody doing it? Seriously, if beating Seattle is automatic, why doesn't every team beat Seattle? If beating Portland is that simple, why doesn't Dallas beat Portland every time? If beating Connecticut is guaranteed, why doesn't everyone else take care of business against them? That's not how professional basketball works. Every game presents different challenges. Every team has talented players. Every road game is difficult. Winning consistently in this league is never easy. Indiana has taken advantage of the schedule in front of them, exactly like good teams are supposed to. Looking deeper at the numbers, the Fever have put together an impressive record against teams below .50, while remaining competitive against winning teams as well. That balance is exactly what playoff teams need. You don't apologize for winning. You collect victories. You improve your seeding, then you prepare for whoever is waiting in the postseason. Right now, the Indiana Fever sit at 19-10. They're riding a 5-game winning streak. That's their longest winning streak in roughly a decade. Think about how much this franchise has changed. Not long ago, Indiana was trying to rebuild. Now, they're becoming one of the hottest teams in the WNBA. The confidence is growing, the chemistry is improving, the defense is becoming more connected, the offense continues to evolve around Caitlyn Clark's playmaking, and perhaps most importantly, every player seems to understand their role. That makes this team incredibly dangerous moving forward. Aliyah Boston deserves some recognition too. I thought she played well whenever she was on the floor. She controlled the paint defensively, made smart decisions offensively, and continued doing the little things that help Indiana win basketball games. She doesn't always fill the highlight reels, but her impact is impossible to ignore. Another incredible milestone made this night even more memorable. Caitlyn Clark reached 1,500 career WNBA points in only 78 games. Just stop and think about that. She hasn't even reached 100 career games, yet she's already adding another major achievement to an already incredible resume. That's elite production. That's remarkable consistency, and that's exactly why so many people believe we're watching one of the brightest stars the league has ever seen. Then, to cap off an unforgettable performance, Caitlyn Clark delivered another clutch moment, knocking down a buzzer beater that brought the crowd to their feet and added one more highlight to an already spectacular night. Historic numbers, another triple-double, another major career milestone, another dominant Indiana Fever victory, and another game where Caitlyn Clark looked every bit like one of the premier players in the sport. The MVP conversation is only going to get louder from here. Every game, she seems to rewrite another section of the record books. Every game, she creates another unforgettable highlight. Every game, she gives basketball fans another reason to tune in. If the Fever continue playing at this level, nobody is going to want to face them in the playoffs. They're playing with confidence, they're playing together, and they're playing their best basketball at exactly the right time. Let me know what you thought about this performance. Do you think Caitlyn Clark should be leading the MVP race after another triple-double? Can the Indiana Fever keep this winning streak alive? And how far do you think this team can go once the playoffs begin? Drop all your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.